about what's going on over at Warner Brothers and the fact that they could be selling to Universal in the next couple of years, which is very, very interesting considering they just got sold from AT&T to Discovery like less than a year ago.
Okay,
right?
I didn't even know that AT&T owned Warner Brothers.
Yep, before that, right?
Okay.
So what's interesting to me about this is like, look, they can't win. We've watched them release project after project in the last year, and they can't seem to find a footing for anything that works. None of the DC movies have really done all that well. They're not really doing anything with Harry Potter outside of the theme parks until the new television show comes around. But Universal, which is owned by Comcast, has had nothing but success stories this year. So they did Oppenheimer, Fast and the Furious, Super Mario Brothers,
yes,
as well as Cocaine Bear, and Five Nights at Freddy's is about to come out, and we were having trouble finding tickets for Five Nights at Freddy's because all the seats were sold out.
Seems like they just know what sells. Also, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
And what's interesting about like people mention like how much money Barbie made with all of this press and all of this like media fervor. Super Mario Brothers almost beat, like they barely beat Super Mario Brothers, and they did it without any of
way less marketing.
Way less marketing, but also way less buzz from like us talking about it, right? It just proves the strength of the brand for them. And so Comcast is at this time the largest media conglomerate in the United States. It's like number one next to, I think, I had the list pulled up here. It
owns the rest of Hulu that Disney doesn't own.
Exactly, right? So, like Comcast, AT&T, Disney, Paramount Global, and then Warner Brothers Discovery are the companies that are the biggest media conglomerates in America. But Comcast also owns Universal, or I'm sorry, they own Sci-Fi, Universal, CNBC, MSNBC, and then also the Universal Parks. Which is like, that's a lot of stuff to own. So one of the things you have to worry about is like, look, it's going to end up, you're consolidating down so far that only a small number of companies own any of these businesses. And why would you want to sell the company? Why would Warner Brothers want to sell right now when it would be at a loss because they haven't been able to bolster their numbers or cut enough weight from their books?
Well, in this article, it says it's because Warner Brothers is broke AF right now.
They are.
So it's a last-ditch effort. And this is why David Zaslav demanded that James Gunn recast DC with cheaper talent.
Like David Cornsweet as Superman.
The plan for the original The Flash movie was not what we saw. They were saying it was going to have a bunch of cameos and set up for movies with Henry Cavill, with Ben Affleck, like all the favorites.
Yeah.
And then they had to change it last minute, and it was not what they envisioned at all.
And what's funny about, like, if you look at the biggest companies in the world, it's Apple, Saudi Oil, and Microsoft.
Oh my God.
Right? So there's also talks, like they assume that there's a lot of people that assume that at some point Apple is just this enormous corporation that's going to eventually buy up one of these companies, likely Paramount. At some point, they'll end, like, it's very possible if they could, because they have the money.
Their own streaming service is not doing so hot.
But the thing is, they're kind of insulated the way Amazon is, right? The market cap on Apple is $2.7 trillion. So it's like they have the cash reserve, you know.
Apple TV Plus is merely a footnote for them, so it doesn't matter that no one watches it.
And the problem with consolidation is like there's an article we're going to cover tomorrow that's talking about how the thing that Hollywood really wanted out of this writer strike was to be able to start cutting the dead weight from a lot of these companies. But what it's going to mean is that a lot less creativity, because you're only going to have so many places where you can go to get entertainment, and a lot of them are becoming tech companies. Apple is not a media company, it's a tech company. Amazon was a book publishing company turned into a marketplace, and they're becoming some of the largest distributors of entertainment. And companies like Comcast, when you think about just the size of their operation, so if they're running your MSNBC and your CNBC, so that's your financial news, your shitty mainstream press, your shitty movies and actually I shouldn't even say shitty, they actually made the good plenty of the actual good movies that came out this year. Imagine they consolidate further the same way that 20th Century Fox got bought by Disney, like at one point you had a chance to just go to all of these different places to get your entertainment. The old X-Men movies. Anybody ever seen the old X-Men movies back in the day?
Yeah.
Very different from the Marvel movies you get now, right? And I think that's a great way to look at it. Like back then, you got these movies from Bryan Singer, which were vastly different from what Marvel would then go on to make 8 years later. Now all anybody can talk about is how they're going to integrate the X-Men into the already previously established Marvel franchises. Like, do we really want to see what it looks like when we have to have Super Mario Brothers versus DC? Or something like that, right? Like it's just not interesting to me, and it stifles creativity. Also they also did Megan this year.
I thought that was a pretty good movie.
I
found
liked
I
it.
loved
That one. Yeah.
And that's the same studio that's making the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is gonna
Right.
do really well. I predict.
So like the idea is like if they're gonna have to sell, if they want to sell Warner Brothers Discovery for an actual like profit, they'll have to actually make something that makes money, which they haven't
Other
seemed
than
to be
Barbie.
able, other than no, that was Universal that made Barbie. Warner Brothers didn't make Barbie. I'm saying Warner Brothers is going to have projects that actually make money if they want to sell at a profit, and they haven't really been able to do that in the last year. Is this the type of thing where, like, do you guys have, like, we've had this discussion before about like whether men or women have streaming services? Do you have any streaming services?
No, not really.
Any?
No.
So like cable, but cable was a thing, right?
Yeah.
Everyone had
Well,
to
I
have
had-
cable
yeah.
with 1,000 choices. Eventually, you're only going to have 3 or 4 that you're going to be able to choose from, and all of the past stuff that's fine. But eventually, you're going to start seeing all the entertainment looking the same.
Brett, Barbie is a Warner Brothers.
That's what I'm saying.
You said it was Universal.
I said it. No, I don't think so. It's Super Mario Brothers was a Universal.
I thought you were saying
Barbie was a. I'm saying that Warner
opposite.
Brothers will have to have something other than Barbie
Yeah.
that makes money.
Yeah.
Yes. Everything else Warner Brothers released this year was crap, and the only reason I remember that is because Oppenheimer was Universal and Warner Brothers was Barbie, and Christopher Nolan used to make all his movies through Warner Brothers, and then switched to Universal after the flop that was Tenet.
I mean, I've half jokingly said that I'm just so tired of having to look up where to stream blank
Yeah.
show or
Yes.
movie, because there's like they are constantly switching licensing, and there's like 2 seasons of this show on Paramount Plus, and then the other 2 are on this other one, and like I'm so tired of searching for where to watch things.
Also, guys,
that
if
I
you want
kind
the
of
answer-
want a big company to just take over all the streaming services.
If you guys are
a
looking for the
big
answer to
conglomerate.
that, if you have IMDb, you don't even have to have IMDb Pro. You can set like what streaming services you have, right? And you can check all, and then when you look up a show, it lists right under there. It says you can find this show at this.
that's
But you
cool.
can also use alternative streaming
if you-
platforms.
Disavow. At least, but also like, so if they're restructuring DC right now, and we have James Gunn making all of these changes, they sell to Universal in 2 years and it just gets rebooted again, and then they just start over again. That's
Yeah.
what would end up happening.
I mean, I want them to just stop altogether making DC movies because I don't like them.
I know Valiant, they said they're saying sell within 2 years. I know Valiant Renegade said it probably wouldn't be doable in less than 3 to 5. But I just
I want to see in my lifetime both DC and Marvel run themselves into the ground.
very plausible. I mean, at least the
I want to live to see that. May not be
You might,
soon,
yeah.
but I want to see it.
Well, the idea would be more that like it would be that they're just less popular now. I don't think it's ever going to be that thing where you're gonna like it is now officially in the ground.
Everyone who has a Marvel tattoo is going to regret it.
I also wonder if Apple will end up buying Paramount or something like that. But that would kind of signal like a strategic shift in where they're looking to take the business, and I think they've done very well with their, avant-garde shows on their little streaming service that they probably write off as a loss every year.
Severance is really good. That's the only thing I remember liking from Apple TV, but
Well, everybody always complains that there
It's not
isn't
all
enough new
bad.
stuff coming out, but Apple TV actually does seem to consistently put out new stuff that's not the same cookie cutter stuff that we see all the time. Also, Paramount, or now that I think about it, Comcast also has the John Wick movies, because those are Universal. So that franchise, and they just released the show the Continental and the Twisted Metal series. So they're all they're all growing and expanding, but it just seems that Warner Brothers can't seem to do it. And you don't even necessarily have to have Max to watch Discovery if you want, because you can still watch it on Discovery
That's
Plus.
so stupid. Like everything from Discovery Plus is on Max.
Yeah.
But some people just don't have Max.
Yeah.
So they didn't consolidate them. Like the less streaming services, the better, in my opinion.
It does feel like it's gotten out of hand lately.
Yeah.
It's not great, but I got rid of Disney Plus. I'm not going to watch any of the Marvel shows.
Why don't you just bite the bullet and get rid of all of your streaming services?
I'm never going to do that.
Why?
Because I actually
There's
watch
no
stuff.
good reason
Because I
to
actually
watch.
watch stuff.
I do too.
I go through. No, because then I would. Okay, I'll tell you why I'm not going to do that. Because
we won't have to get into that.
yeah,
It's
but
fine.
No, don't encourage Brett to cancel all his streaming services that I also may partake in.
I had to. Okay, so here's the thing.
Exposed.
So-
Very against this
live
idea.
on
I
air.
think
Sarah
you should keep them all.
Sarah once very graciously asked if she could watch some stupid baking show that nobody watches but her. Clearly, dumb. No, I'm just kidding. But what was it called again?
Great Halloween Bake Off.
Okay.
Something
These
like
are probably
freaking
the only
cool.
shows
Okay.
that make money
So
now, Brett.
good.
Don't denigrate the baking shows and the dating shows.
how
Like
dare
these are the shows
Yeah.
that actually
Yeah.
Did you check
bring
it out?
returns.
So-
I was just watching the newest season of Love Is Blind. Have you guys seen that yet?
I love that show. I haven't seen the new season, but it was very fascinating.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the new season.
So
have not
Sarah,
watched it,
Sarah
no.
asks to use my Max subscription, but here's the problem. When I go back to checking, because I started watching Deadwood again, and it's not the Great British Bake Off that's destroying my continue watching list. It's South Park and Rick and Morty, and I will not have Rick and
You
Morty.
just exposed Sarah as a Rick and Morty fan. That
no
is
shame.
mortifying.
The
No
Halloween
shame.
baking championship to Rick and Morty pipeline is real.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I did, there was because I just said look, I don't want my continue watching lists destroyed with this disgusting
you can make
imagery.
different profiles.
And no, so what I did is
Art.
I made a second profile. So there's Brett and there's not Brett, and I just sent her a video that just pointed this me, this you.
Wait, I never got this
Rug
video.
mad.
Yeah, did not send.
I know.
I sent a video as me. You, as if the one that says not Brett isn't very clearly worded in the thing. So
It's
just
very not in my backyard.
yes,
Sounds like a
look, you can
sibling
watch
rivalry.
whatever you. South Park, I'm fine with. Rick and Morty, not so much. But I'm
what you
saying
drew the line,
it's
okay.
but here's the thing, all my stuff, there's a beautiful symmetry to all the things I watch, right? Where it's drama. Sure, there's some DC animated movies in there, but then Rick and Morty, what is it? It's
I
fine.
ruined your perfect
Hater.
algorithm.
It looked so beautiful before, and now my recommends are changing, and it's just I won't have it.
That's what happens when
Well,
you're a
thank
good
you.
person, Brett.
Yeah, thank you. I do pay for my own Amazon Prime. If you ever need it.
Look at that.
I've got Amazon Prime. That's
Got a
fine.
nice trade.
That's fine. Also, Amazon Prime is easily the worst of all the streaming services, at least as far as user
Why?
experience.
Oh,
It's-
yeah,
Yes.
I will give you that. But they have some good stuff on there.
They have a lot of good.
They have
There's
a lot of good movies.
Yeah.
there's stuff that I watch on there.
They just have so much money they don't need to care whether their platform is usable or not.
well, Netflix is kind of the same, right? Netflix is horrible lately.
Yeah.
It lags really, really bad. It just stops playing.
It never
Never has-
stopped pissing
Dude.
me off that they autoplay anything you scroll past on.
Yes, I hate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you can turn that off on
that.
on one of either on Amazon or on Netflix.
Ugh.
You can turn that off.
And
the
Netflix
autoplay.
makes so much of their own stuff that they don't have any good movies. When I try to search a movie I actually know or actually like, it never comes
Hulu
up.
is where you go for that.
They just
Okay.
want you to watch their shitty shows and movies.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.